Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome back to the OWLS Racing League for what is round 9 of Season 8, where we take a trip to the Bahrain International Circuit for what is going to be us getting closer to that season finale. 4 more rounds to go, including this one. Title is certainly heating up at the top. My name is Max Ring and I'll be taking you through all of the action here tonight. Drivers are just loading into qualifying, but before we head trackside, let's actually have a look at the standings after last week's sprint, of course, and feature race in Azerbaijan. So it is Ewan who leads the way, but only by a total of 11 points. But Leopold is not here tonight. Yari is. He is a further 12 behind of you, and he's 1 point behind Leopold, but he is 12 behind. Actually, no, Yari's not here tonight either, so this is a perfect opportunity for, of course, Ewan to extend that championship lead by quite some margin. In 4th place, it's Will Smooth, who also is not in attendance. Then we have got Puzant in 5th, who is here tonight. Of course, missed 2 weeks earlier on in the season, and that really derailed his championship campaign, his defence of the title. So he'll be looking to try now and bounce back as best as he possibly can. Then we've got HB Cook, of course, a 2-time champ in 6th, just behind Puzant. He's picked up his performances over the recent weeks. Then we've got ST, Joker, Fran Bernoulli, Sprint, Captain Foxy, Not Jack, Snoop Panda and Liam Bearder rounding out the top 15. But drivers, as you may be able to hear, are out on to the circuit. Go ahead to 18 minutes of qualifying here tonight in, of course, Bahrain, under the lights for another time this season. And the first driver out on the road looks to be the Alpine of Snoop Panda, the man 14th in the standings, looking to try and put in a good result. Been a pretty poor season so far from Snoop Panda, as of course did finish in the top 4 last season in the standings. So down in 14th, not where he would want to be at all. But will now be looking to at least end the season in these last 4 rounds somewhat a good result under his belt. So, as Snoop Panda shapes up for the first lap, of course, battery going to be a big factor around this circuit. A lot of long straights, and making his way down into turn 1, lifting off the throttle early, down to 3rd gear, slowly pick the car back up as you try get back onto the traction, through turns 2 and then up through 3. Straight line mode activated, of course, as you make the run up the hill of turn 4. Then nicely through 4, maybe a little bit wide from the apex, bring the car all the way to the left-hand side. This little kink left is 5 before into turn 6, and then 7. A little front right lock up, not getting the car rotated in as nicely as he would have wanted, as you then slap onto the brakes for 8. Back up the hill we go into turns 9 and 10. Of course, 9, this little setup corner into 10, looking up the front left, hitting that apex rather nicely. You don't want to hit the curb, you just want to be just behind it. And now, want to get a good exit and launch all the way down into turn 11, which is a very tricky corner to get perfect. You may get it nice, but to get it perfect is a difficult corner to do so. Middle sector split at 1 minute 6.7 from Snoop Panda. Nicely out of turn 13, not using all the circuit he possibly could. And now down the hill into the final couple of corners. Straight line mode activated as we make the run to the line now, and it is going to be a benchmark of a 1 minute 28.6, and I think his teammate was just coming behind him. No, it was not. It was one of the Williams cars. That's MH just starting a lap. Puzant is on the lap. He's just started through the final sector. It was Vinny who was going to be next to the line. A 28.6 from him as XY now goes to the top with a 28.0. Joker into second fastest, a 28.4 for the Mercedes man. As we now see Agent coming up to the line. He's about a second off what Snoop Panda set and goes into 6th for 30.1. Rory a 30.5. Now look at Richie as he makes the run down the hill into the final 2 corners. See what the Red Bull driver can set as he crosses the line now. Good enough for 3rd fastest, a 28.5 from him. What about championship leader Paulie Ewan up to the line? He goes. It's a 27.7. 3 temps clear of XY, and that is a brilliant lap time there from the McLaren driver. A great benchmark at the start of this session. Captain Foxy getting it all wrong at turn 4. A big old snap. And we've got George doing his banker, of course, on the intermediates, like always. What about Puzant, though, as he makes his way out of the final corner? The reigning champion has invalidated, but he backed off to go again. So we'll see what he's going to be able to deliver. But, of course, he's old rival as such. There's still rivals in the championship because Cook is still right there or thereabouts with Puzant in terms of points. Only a few points separate them. See what Cook can possibly deliver. Now, make our way out of the first sector at 28.5 from the Aston Martin in the first part of the lap. So, as we see Cook make his way down into turn 11. That middle sector split is going to be, of course, a 6.7 is what Nuke Panda set. So you want to be a little bit quicker than that over the middle sector split line. A 7-0 from Cook. He's really struggled in qualifying this season. Not sure if it's he can't get the car into the right window. Unsure how to manage the battery. And now up to the line we go. It's night fastest, a 29.0 from Cook. Very disappointing for him indeed, as Puzant goes up to third fastest, a 28.3 from him. Nuke Panda did a second lap on the same set of tyres. He sets a 28.5. And are we seeing anybody else do another lap on the same set? Yes, we are. Vinny now makes his way through the middle sector. And he's up by about 0.2 of a second in the middle part of the lap. Just about keeping it valid through 13. Now up to the line here for Vinny. Where's he going to go? Fifth fastest. Pushing Nuke Panda back down to 6th. Finding that all-important improvement is Ewan going again. He does seem so, but he's down by half a tenth. XYZ has come into the pit lane. Oh, a big moment there for Ewan as well as he comes out of the final corner. And that'll be him coming straight into the pit lane. The Nuke Panda also comes into the pits. Captain Foxy's made his way up into 11th after we saw him earlier on. That huge moment on his lap. That's Sakeo as he comes to the line. 6th fastest for the Red Bull. For Sakeo. A good, of course, banker lap there from the V-Carb, only slightly behind Vinny by a few hundredths of a second. Of course, Vinny going to be coming into the pit lane. We do have some drivers who are on out laps, most notably 4th place man Joker. Currently on a 28.4. We need to find at least 0.7 of a second to rival Ewan's lap. Let's see what the Mercedes driver can do. As he makes his way down the main straight now. 8.5 minutes left now of this qualifying session. And we are at that halfway stage where drivers are going to get their second runs in. Joker now making his way up the hill to turn 4. Of course, this first sector, mainly about turns 1, 2 and then 4. All about the exit you can get really out of turns excuse me, into the first sector split. He's down by 5 thousandths, but he may have saved even a couple percent more on the battery front. That could give him a better middle or final sector. And now out of turn 10 we go. Joker back on the power, down the national, hit straight. Heading straight back up the hill. Through the middle sector split, and he's up by just under 2.5 tenths of a second. So this will be enough to only put him in front of Puzant for now, but is there more time in the final part of the lap at the moment? He makes his way onto the brakes. It's all about this exit. A small slide. Doesn't use all the circuit either. That's going to cost him dearly, you would think. And up to the line. It's third fastest. He does lose some time in the final sector, but still an improvement on the cards. See what XY and Paul and, of course, Ewan are able to do. XY was, of course, a 10th up in the first sector, but Ewan is purple in that first part of the lap, so he's also on track for an improvement. Got an Aston Martin just in front. This might impede him slightly. No, Vinny gets out the way at the last moment. That would have actually gave the Audi quite a nice slipstream down into turn 11. As he cuts across the middle sector beam, it's nearly 3 tenths to the good. We'll quickly flick back to Ewan. At the moment, this is going to be very close between the pair, but Ewan's up by 1.5 in the middle part of the lap, so it may be that XY is going to be able to take the top spot away, but then Ewan will fight back immediately if he keeps it valid. Here comes the Audi to the line. It's second fastest. Lost time in that final sector, but what can Ewan do? Can he put a stranglehold on that top spot? He's got a lovely slipstream off the Mercedes in front. He can! A 27.4. 2.5 tenths found overall. A spectacular lap time there from the championship leader to extend that gap at the top even further, and certainly giving himself a strong margin heading into those final runs in a few moments' time. As we now look back at New Panda, who's down by 3 tenths of a second. Puzant's just coming out of turn 10 as Richie moves himself up into 7th fastest. MH is invalidated. Eddie's a little bit further back as well. So let's go back on board with Puzant as he makes his way through the middle sector, and he's up by 0.5 seconds at the moment. Though this will keep him, of course, on that second row of the grid. It will put him in front of Joker, but he's getting a lovely slipstream off, I believe, Ben in front of him. It will be Ben in front of him. Maybe a little bit of dirty air through the final corner. Ben then peels off to the right-hand side, and here comes Puzant to the line. Is he going to find a big enough improvement? It's third fastest at 27.8, just shy of taking that front row away of XY and the Audi. But it is going to be third fastest for Puzant. Of course, now with 4 minutes left to go, has to get back into the pit lane rather quickly. And once again, a disappointing start to the session here for Cook, who's all the way down in 14th. Of course, the man that was so dominant in the 25 cars, just not seeming to be able to get to grips with the 26 cars just yet. Bacchio comes into the pit lane. Not tracking for an improvement. Captain Foxy with a good improvement. 28.4, just shy of Vinny. And that's going to be Sprint moving himself up into 4th place. The Williams driver now slots into that second row of the grid. Just pips Joker to that 4th spot. Around about 1/10 of a second. And the drivers now are just gearing up to get ready for those final runs. Of course, when you're in such a late stage of the season, especially for Ewan, where he's got an opportunity to extend that championship lead to around about 30 points. It is a great opportunity. Actually, no, maybe even actually, no, nearly 40 points. It'd be about 36, I believe, if he's able to win the race today. Of course, with no Leopold and Yari, who are 11 and 12 points behind respectively, and an extra 25 points to his tally, he could wrap up the title come the end of next week, depending if they're here or not. But we'll see what the drivers, of course, have in response, and will Ewan be able to take that top spot. George is on the hards to set his fastest lap. He did say he'll do that in the chat, but we'll see what he's able to do. A 28.4 in the first sector is not too shabby at all, as he now makes his way through turn 8. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. That's going to be his teammate Ben. Hopefully get out of his way. A little bit deep through turn 10. Just needs to keep it valid, which he does. And opens up the throttle once more. Ben needing to get out of the way, and he does. He gives a lovely slipstream to George, though, just like we saw for Vinny heading down into turn 11. George through the middle sector, a 6.8, so he's around about that 28.6 mark, I believe. So around about the top 10, the lower end of it, and on the hards, that's a very strong lap indeed. Now makes his way through the final corner, and up to the line we go with George. What's it going to be for the Haas driver? It's 12 fastest at 28.6. So I think he'd be quite happy with that, with a lap on the hard compound of tyres. More and more drivers starting their laps. Now look at Joker, who in the first sector is down by 0.02 of a second. Look at XY's rate of progress as well, as he now makes his way through the first part of the lap. Big lift there from the Audi. Of course, needs to find 0.3 of a second if he wants to snatch pole position away from Ewan. And the first sector is down by 1/10.5. So this is not going so well for the Audi man at the moment. Whereas for Joker, as he now makes his way through the middle sector split through turn 11. Up the hill. The 12 and 13 middle sector split. He's down by 0.2. I think that's his lap over and done with. Sprint wasn't able to make it to the line in time, so he can start a best of third. Couldn't see what Ewan was doing in the first sector, but it didn't look like it was purple either, so he might be down on his previous best. Joker through the final corner. Of course, he'll get us underway. Newt Panda has retired. Here comes Joker. Doesn't find an improvement. Finds some in the final sector, but it's not enough. It will then be Sakio who goes up into 4th fastest, just displacing Sprint, who of course was not able to get a run in. XY is down in the middle sector. Ewan was down by 1/10.5 in the first sector. Nobody seeming to be finding the lap time at the moment. Ben, 13th fastest. What about Puzant? If you look a little bit further back, that's him. Through now at the end of the middle sector. I believe you've got Captain Foxy just behind him. And he's up by 0.3 in the middle sector here. Puzant might be able to snatch this one away from Ewan. The man who's on top of the championship at the moment might lose his time to, of course, the reigning champion. Puzant, of course, will be showing absolute levels to Ewan if he's able to pull this one off. Now out of the final corner. Will the reigning champion show what champions are made of? No! Just misses out by 0.2 of a second. Lost time in the final sector. And it is going to be second fastest for Puzant. Still a front row start. And will start second place. And it will be Ewan who takes pole position here in Bahrain. With a lovely performance. And your order is as follows. After qualifying your grid, it is going to be Ewan on pole, Puzan in second, XY third, Sakio fourth, Vinny, then Sprint, Joker, Eddie, Cook. MH rounds up the top 10, then Foxy, Richie, Panda, George, Ben. I couldn't get the rest of the grid. I'll show you in a few moments. So, and as you know, sorry, Yari is here. It's just a name change, it seems, for Yari. So that XY is Yari. We'll be calling him Yari from now on. But the rest of the grid was as follows. We got to George in 14th, then Ben, Rory the 18th, Rando and Agent. So, with Yari in third, that means the championship won't go up to about 30 points. At the moment, it is looking like to go up to around about 22 between the top two in the standings. It's only Leopold who will not make it here tonight from that top three in the standings. The three drivers really within contention. But of course, qualifying pace is one thing, race pace is another. We'll see how these drivers fare. Expecting a medium-hard, hard-medium strategy for the drivers tonight. What should be an exciting race here at Bahrain, with plenty on the line. For, of course, Ewan. There's an opportunity to extend that championship lead by a few more points. Even if it is a second place for Yari and a first place for Ewan, he will extend the lead by quite some margin. It's 5 red lights as we're about to go racing here in Bahrain. It's Puzan and Ewan on the front row of the grid. And we're underway here in Bahrain. It's a good start from the McLaren, who leads the way down into the first corner. Puzan not seeming to be able to get a move up the inside, is actually being swamped by both Yari and Sakio, as Sakio now looks to the outside line in the V-Carb. He's going to be side by side with Yari. Isn't able to get the move done. There was someone off in the background. I believe that was Eddie, who has gone for a small spin as we make our way up into turn 4. It's a late lunge by the V-Carb. Some slight contact with the Audi as Yari somehow keeps the car facing in the right direction, and at the front of the field, Puzan is all over the back of Ewan for that race lead, but the Ferrari just not able to look for a lunge into turn 8. Further back we go. It's 2x2 in the mid-pack. That's MH looking for a move onto Vinny, as they now get a nice run, and Vinny uses a bit more battery to outpower the Williams car. Is talking about Williams versus Aston Martin. Cook's had a lightning getaway, and he was side by side there with Sprint, but it's turned into George getting past the Aston Martin. The Haas driver now up to 8th from 14th on the grid. He's had a great opening lap to this one as well, and it's now Ben all over the back of Cook. Of course, two good friends. He'll be squabbling over positions as George looks to the inside of Sprint through turn 13. There's some slight contact between the pair, and it will be side by side now as we run down the hill into the final couple of corners. Ewan has kept, Puzan has kept with Ewan. The meter boards are getting destroyed as well in the process as we make our way through the final corner. And let's see what the McLaren has to offer in defence. It's a yellow flag once again. It's for Eddie once more, and Puzan is getting closer to the back of the McLaren and backs off. Does not look for the move this time around. Yari, of course, stays in third, then Sakio. Then it is going to be Vinny. It's a lovely exit, but won't be close enough for a move. You won't talk about close enough for a move. Newt Panda certainly is, but he's also got Captain Foxy all over the back of him. It's Captain Foxy to the inside of Ben. Rando's got a penalty with collision with the A-team as they've both gone off somewhere, potentially at turn 2. And Ben holds on to that 10th place. Newt Panda holds on to 11th still. And he's still got Captain Foxy all over the back of him. As further up, Sakio and Yari now going to battle. And has also invited Vinny into the equation. And Vinny has got past Yari, who's dropped down 2 places in the span of 1 corner. Disastrous there for the man 3rd place in the standings. Only 12 points behind championship leader Ewan. As Vinny now looking to the inside. And is it going to be Sakio who holds firm, or is it going to be Vinny who ends up on top? Here comes Yari to the inside of the pair from his 3 wide through turn 12. Spectacular racing here on lap 2. Aggressive elbows out racing already, and Yari moves his way up into 4th. Sakio down to 5th, and Vinny up into 3rd, but crucially they're now 2 seconds behind the top 2 in this race. MH now all over the back of the V-Carb as well, as we'll see further up. Here comes the McLaren versus the Ferrari. It's going to be Puzan who looks to the inside, and he gets ahead of the McLaren. Ewan drops out of that race lead, and Puzan takes the lead of the race. In the Ferrari, the Scarlet Red Prancing Horse to the front of the field, the reigning champ, will lead the way. And George is able to get past MH, and now might be lining up a move on the V-Carb in front of him. It's all kicking off in these opening few tours of the Bahrain International Circuit. There's some slight contact with MH into the back of the Haas, and the Haas goes for a slide, and he's just able to hold the car in the right direction. A good save there from George, as he's now looking at the 3 cars squabbling right in front of him, nearly into the back there. Sakio can get the drive out the corner potentially though, as he goes a bit wide as the V-Carb in front of the Haas, and no, we'll just have to sit behind. Out of turn 10 we go. 4 cars. Make that 5 cars, because MH is still all over the back here of George. And are we going to see George make that move? Now on to Sakio. No, we are not, but it's all about this exit now on a 13. And looking to the inside we go. Here comes George, late on the brakes once again into turn 13. A prime overtaking zone, it seems, for the Haas driver. And he makes his way through once again. Up to 5th he goes, but Sakio fighting back down into turn number 14. And he's got the move back done, but this is a good old switcheroo from George, as he now tries to drag this contact. They're both off and into the pit lane. Front wing damage for George. Sakio gets 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane. Some big contact there. Heading into the pits. It's a good thing the pit lane was there, because I think it saved Sakio from a race-ending retirement. Well, I mean, he retired anyway, but a race-ending retirement. And for George to go a whole lap with half a front wing. But some big contact unsettled the car there of Sakio. And George straight down the pit lane. I believe he might have picked up a 10-second time penalty as well, with Vinny been overtaken there by Yari. As it has been a dramatic opening few laps. I don't think Sakio would have been quite too happy with that one. See Vinny shaping up a move once again onto Yari, not able to get it done. Not really been able to keep with Puzant like Puzant was able to keep with him in the opening few laps. So McLaren seeming to be struggling behind the Prancing Horse. Of course, 2 fabled rivals in motorsport, McLaren versus Ferrari, when it comes to Formula 1. Now they're battling it out at the front of the field here in the OWLS Racing League at round 9. Cook now up into 5th place. He's had a great start. Let's bring up the tyres. We've not brought them up due to all of the squabbling that's been going on. Everyone on the mediums but Agent. Of course, Rando and George have come into the pit lane to serve penalties and also to change front wing damage, as Agent's now dropped down the field. He's down to 14th place. Sprint has just passed Nuke Panda. He's up into 7th place now. Nuke Panda not able to fight back, has a bit of a moment, and that's allowed Captain Foxy to draw alongside. Just not able to keep alongside heading into the 5 and 6 chicane, or is he? As he now looks to the inside into turn 8. A late lunge by the Mercedes. Gas hasn't been shaped up well enough, but all about the battery. Now head into turns 9 and 10. Of course, a lot of congestion can happen here, and Captain Foxy off the road. Richie to the inside, and he will surely take the position away. No, he does not. Foxy better on the traction somehow, even though he was off the road. And the Red Bull driver slots back into place just behind the Mercedes. Of course, has picked up a penalty for track limits. for now. And lap 6 of 29. That leads the way from Ewan. Yari, who's 4.7 seconds back. At the moment, the gap between him and Ewan will only extend by 3 points, so from 12 to 15. Somewhat a best case scenario for Yari at the moment. A big struggle to catch back up to the McLaren car. Rory 10 seconds speeding into the pit lane. That's our second retirement of the race, unfortunately. Crucially as well for Ewan, he's teetering on the edge, dropping out of that 1 second window, of course, for the overtake mode. No DRS, these 26 cars. Overtake mode only. And he is just about staying within it. Of course, does get a bit more battery to play with, a bit more power underneath that McLaren. And that can be oh so crucial, especially in this final sector with this really long straight. Having a bit more battery than your competitor to pull you in that little bit closer to reel in the car in front. As Yari's disconnected. I said it could be the best case scenario for Yari at the moment in terms of the trap position with himself and Ewan. But Yari has disconnected, unfortunately. Hopefully he can get back into the race rather quickly. But a man who was third place in the standings as well, and third place in this race, has just disconnected. And I think a small commentator's curse might have just happened there, as that has put Cook up into fourth place now. And Aston Martin 3-4. Cook's had a lightning start. Let's have a look at the positions gained and lost in this one. As you see, Yari dropping down throughout the field. Cook up 5, Newt Panda up 5, down 5 for Eddie, down 4 for Joker, who's had a very poor start. Of course, down 3 for George. The only driver inside that top 9 that's not gained a place is Ewan, because of course he is down from where he started on pole position. He's down to second. Still just about keeping in touching distance of race leader Puzan. And that means that gap at the front of the field extended to 5.7 seconds. Guys behind will need an absolute miracle if they want to catch up to this top 2. Something's happened there to Ewans. He's dropped now 1.3 seconds back, so he must have had a slight moment through turns 1 and 2. And that's really now putting him on the back foot. Puzan could run away with this at this stage as Captain Foxy's able to get past Newt Panda. There was side-by-side in the background between Richie and Joker. Both of the Mercedes cars could be on the move and moving themselves further up the order. And they certainly have done. Joker up to 9th. Captain Foxy up into 7th. And Joker now looking to recover from those lost places at the start. Bring himself into contention. That gap between Ewan and Paul, and of course Vinny, 6.5 seconds. Now 1.5 seconds behind. This train now extending all the way back from MH. Got Captain Foxy and Newt Panda right there as Newt Panda goes for the lunge down to Captain Foxy into the back of MH. Just about No damage onto either car. And MH having a spin. MH actually picks up 3 seconds by cutting the inside of turn 2 slightly. Captain Foxy now looking to the outside line into turn 4. And that's Nuke Panda again aggressive on the brakes. Up and under from the Mercedes. Can he draw alongside? He cannot. But for Nuke Panda, very aggressive racing. Saw an opportunity in front of him and decided to take it. And now looks to the inside into turn 9. Lovely stuff to fight back against the Alpine. And now that's actually allowed Joker to get all over the back feet of Nuke Panda now. So the teammates working together. And now making their way down the hill into final couple of corners. Do battle all over again for another lap as we're reaching nearly that pit stop window, you would think. And you can see Joker looking to the inside of Nuke Panda. It's late on the brakes from the Mercedes as he looks up the front right. Just about no contact between the pair. Panda's able to get the better exit. But, of course, the slipstream will now work in the favour of the Mercedes man. But he's just not going to use any battery. Captain Foxy's able to breeze past MH up into turn 4. The Williams driver not able to fight back. But for Captain, I say he's not able to fight back. He looks to the inside into turn 8. The good old switcheroo from Captain Foxy. Joker has passed Nuke Panda. As actually Panda's dropped down throughout the field. I think he might have went for an aggressive lunge. MH to the inside. Once more through turn 10. And it's going to be the Williams driver now drag racing with the Mercedes all the way down into, of course, turn 11. But it is going to be Captain Foxy who does end that battle in front. He's going to look for a lunge into 30. No, but there is contact between the pair. Joker might now have a look at the Williams driver and maybe even his own teammate as we head down into the final couple of corners. It is going to be MH and Joker side by side into turn 14. It's going to be the Mercedes who would surely get the better run on that inside, but clobbers that inside curb, and that's allowed MH to stay in front, and Joker comes into the pit lane along with Vinny. And as we look back at that battle now for 5th place, it's Captain Foxy under all sorts of pressure from the Williams driver, who looks to the inside once more into the first turn. Of course, Richie waiting in the wings. He is licking his lips at a potential opportunity if there's any contact between the pair. There's a yellow flag. I believe that's for Agent, who has gone round further back, and MH just can't get close enough. And we'll be looking to now try and make another lunge into turn 8, you would think. But no, isn't able to do it this time around. That might be the opportunity as Yari picks up 10 seconds, and that's a retirement from Yari. So it's now dire consequences here for the championship. And if Ewan does win this race, that 36-point buffer over what would be Leopold in third. Second, sorry, will be instated. If not, of course, it will be at least 31 points between the pair. And now as we head down the hill, Puzan is into the pit lane. So your race leader is into the pits. He's going to cover off the undercut attempts that might have been coming the way of Ewan. And he's going onto the hards now. 12 laps into this race. Decided to go for the undercut. Captain Foxy in as well, along with Richie, MH and Nuke Panda elect to stay out. Sprint side by side with Cook on the exit of turn 2 as these two now go to battle. Been focusing on one Williams car while the other has been making inroads on the car in front. He's now going to look to the outside as Sprint really has been a driver that's had a big upshot in performances so far this season. And he's looking to make that continue. But of course, do we see Ewan react this lap? As of course, Puzant came out in 6th place. Slight clear air in front of him. He's got Newt Panda, who he is heading up to. Ewan actually stays out for another lap. He's not reacting just yet. He's trying to get that tyre age delta. Feels like he's got the pace. So he's going to look to use it. As into the pit lane does come both Cook and Newt Panda. Sprint. Second place now is Puzant. Able to get past Newt Panda, who of course has come into the pits, which is perfect for him that has happened, because of course Puzant, if he was caught behind Newt Panda, that would have gave Ewan a perfect opportunity to get the overcut. But for Puzant now, he is just going to focus on these next few laps. Try build that buffer. So now, as we make our way through turns 11 and 12, we're onto the brakes for 13. Do we see Ewan react this time around? We do. So how big is the gap going to be on the exit of the pit lane? MH is in front of Puzant, who might just be giving him a distant tow down some of these straights. Could help him quite nicely. Ewan now onto a set of the hards. Here comes Puzant down that main straight. I think he's going to have a big buffer here as the Ferrari. Those mediums as well and truly fall off a cliff there for the McLaren man. And it is going to be a monumental-sized gap between the pair. 2 laps of an undercut. 6.5 seconds clear between Puzant and Ewan. Vinny out in 3rd. And Joker is now all over the back of Cook. He's on another set of the mediums, actually, Joker. So maybe going for a 2-stop strategy. But 7 seconds is that gap now between Puzant and Ewan. And of course, Ewan now needs to warm up those tyres for at least half of this lap. So that gap could extend to 7.2, 7.3 by the time we are done with this one on lap 14 of 29. But Puzant now have a healthy cushion. But still, anything can happen in these races. Safety cars or even slight lapse in judgment. You go wide. Either pick up a penalty or go for a spin yourself. So for Ewan, he really needs to put his foot to the floor to make these tyres work and use that 2-lap tyre age delta. He has work as well. But we're looking further back between Cook, Joker and Sprint as they all squabble for 4th place. Here comes Cook in retaliation against Joker, who's just got past him through that final corner. Just trying to maybe get that overtake. Pulled along by the Mercedes man. There's no point squabbling because you lose time to the car in front. Vinny at the moment inherits that 3rd place spot. And we've got Newt Panda and Ben squabbling over 9th place in this one as well. As around the outside goes Newt Panda, but Ben is sorry, around the outside goes Ben, but New Panda just able to hold on to the position. Ben runs a little bit wide. This might allow MH to go for an opportunity to the inside. It does. And pounces like a lion. But they're still going to run side by side up into turn 10. And it is going to be MH who comes out on top. But no! A good old switcheroo through 9 and 10 from Ben. That's very opportunistic. Fernando Alonso-esque stuff. But he's just not able to pull it off. And sits back behind the Williams, who of course at one stage was running up about 7th place with Captain Foxy. So he has been jumped quite monumentally by the rest of the field behind. And Puzan is now 8.2 seconds clear of Ewan. He is flying at the moment, is the reigning champion. And looking to claw back some valuable points in the championship to just try and keep that championship charge alive. Of course, next week, 3 rounds to go. As New Panda's made the move on Richie for 8th place. He's now resurging his way back up through the field. MH also able to get past Richie. And here comes Richie fighting back against the Williams car. Not able to get the move done. Down 13. Just a little bit further forward. We've got Cook versus Joker versus Sprint, and Cook has been able to get past Joker for that 4th place. Agent picks up 3 seconds. I'll run you through the penalties in a short moment's time. And now Joker, his tyres may have hit the cliff. Might be coming in a few moments' time to get onto a set of the hards and try this 2-stop strategy and make it work. Now lost out to Cook, and he's coming under all sorts of pressure here from Sprint. But Joker is just able to hang on into the final couple of corners. Straight line mode, of course, now activated for Sprint. He makes the run down into turn 1. Is he going to look to the inside? This is where, of course, we saw Cook get past Joker on that last lap, but this time it's going to have to be a bit more work for Sprint, and it was for the Aston Martin. And the Williams just not able to out-traction the Mercedes for now, but he might have the battery game. He might just be able to use the slipstream to move himself further in front. But no, on the drag race up the hill, just was never looking like a real opportunity opening up into 4. But he's still looking to fight back as quickly as he can. Cook takes a bit of a different line through 10. He kind of goes a little bit wider from the apex to be able to pinpoint that throttle a little bit earlier. by taking a bit more of a parallel line to the circuit. Proper gets that nose pinched in halfway through the corner. And just absolutely floors it. So is Joker now going to look for a move on to Cook after he was able to save some battery over the course of this lap. Yes, he has had, of course, the pressure from sprint. That overtake mode, been able to keep some battery in hand. As look as he goes round the outside through turn 4. And it is going to be Cook who holds on and forces Joker wide, and Sprint heads through. Sprint heads through by Joker being forced wide by Cook. An opportunity arises, and Sprint takes it with both hands and takes his way into the top 5. But with a penalty on these hands, it will not go down without a fight. Yellow flag in the first sector. That looks like it's for Randall. As we look at the penalty front, it's 3 seconds for Sprint, 6 for Captain Foxy, 3 for MH, Nuke Panda, Eddie, the A-Team, George and Rando, and 6 as well for Agent. Brent is starting to has been able to put Cook under some pressure, get that move done. But Cook is going to fight this one back. You know Cook will, of course, 2-time champion for a reason. He does not go down without a fight. And he's going to look to the outsider, 1 insider 2. And he's just not able to get the move done and reclaim that 4th place spot. MH been able to get past Nuke Panda in the background. Joker's come into the pit lane, and here comes Nuke Panda. Around the outside, he will go of MH. One Williams driver was able to hold on. Will the other one be able to hold on to their position? And yes, he will. MH is able to stay in front and keep that 7th place for now. Panda now coming under pressure from Richie behind too. Kind of like we saw with Sprint, Cook and, of course, Joker. Now on lap 21 of 29. Getting closer to the end of this one, 9 to go. The race leader, it's 9.3 seconds out in front. He is dominating this race, is Puzam. Now we're going to see a move from Cook on to Sprint. No, we are not, but of course, Sprint's teammates still interlocked into that heated duel with Nuke Panda. Going to be Nuke Panda looking to the inside through 4 it is, but he's just not late enough for the brakes, and that means MH is able to swing it right round the outside, stay on the racing line, and hold on to the position. Agent picks up 10 seconds for speeding in the pit. They wouldn't be surprised to see a retirement from him. But it's nice to see, of course, throughout this whole season, how closely these cars can follow. Unlike we saw, of course, last season, season before that, on the F125 cars, the ground effect era, able to run so much more nicer, the dirty air. As actually Richie looking for a move on Nuke Panda, who made a mistake out of turn 11, and that opened the door for the Red Bull. Just not wide enough for him to barge through and pounce. Joker's got a lot of work on his hands. I think he's only going to finish 10th place here. This Joker, because once he gets past Eddie, he's going to have to try and find 9 seconds, to the cars in front as Cook and Sprint now go side by side out of turn 2. So, who will come out on top in this one? Of course, this is for 4th place. Sprint does have that penalty, but Cook would still love this one on the road and have an opportunity to maybe attack his teammate further up, but he's just not able to get through once again. And Sprint go to 4th. Stay in 4th and hold on to that position as Nuke Panda and MH side by side. As Nuke Panda able to get through this time, they're going to run side by side into turn 6 and 7. Close to contact, close quarters racing through the S's. And it is going to be MH who once again holds firm. Lovely defensive driving from both Williams cars to hold on to their respective positions. And Richie might be able to look for a lunge now to the inside into 10. But no, just is not close enough. But he's going to look for a run down into turn 11, using that battery to his advantage. He's able to break his way through. He's up into 8th place. Nuke Panda tries the up and under, but it just will not work out as George sets the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. And it is Richie who holds firm. No moves being made at the start here of lap 23. Gap's very even at the front of the field. It's 9.7 between Puzan and Ewan, and 9.5 between Ewan and Vinny. But Sprint is starting to reel that gap down to the sister Aston Martin. That gap now 1.7 seconds between the pair. George has left the session. Unfortunate to see the Haas driver leave, but after that bizarre incident, the opening few laps with, of course, Sakio, a big spin into the pit lane. See how, of course, stewards seen that one. So it was just the slightest amount of contact that caused them both to spin. Well, of course, Sakio to have the spin, go into the front of George. George elects to bolt straight into the pit lane, of course. Very peculiar accident. Seen often. George is back into the session. We will be able to get going again. Battle for 14th with Rando and Agent. That gap stayed similar on this lap to what it was on the last. It's now 1.5 between Vinny and Sprint. Slowly bringing that gap down now is the Williams driver. Lap 25 of 29. We've got 5 more laps to go in this one. Don't look like there's going to be too many battles on track. At least in the points paying positions. Are we going to see Cook make the move this time around into the first corner? No, we are not. He's out of battery. And he's just going to want to sit behind the Williams driver. Goes a bit deep through the first corner. Going to compromise his exit ever so slightly. Joker's finally able to get past Eddie on those fresher tyres. And moves his way up into the top 10. Very, very late on the brakes. Nearly into the back of the Mercedes car. But both keep facing in the right direction, neither with damage. The Red Bull not into the back. Silver arrows. Joker now, of course, could be pulling away from Eddie. Cook still all over the back of Sprint, just not close enough. Sprint's chase on Vinny has somewhat died down. As Nuke Panda is close once again to MH. This is really the main battle on that road. Nuke Panda, Richie and MH all over 7th place. Ten seconds further up the road is Captain Fox, who's trying to claw back against Cook and Sprint. Just not getting close enough to be within that overtake window. Bazank comes across the line. Start 3 more racing laps here under the lights in Sakir. Sprint is now within overtake mode of Vinny. Of course, does have that time penalty to his name, but able to get past Vinny. Could get by as well. It could still change in terms of podium positions. Little weave on the exit of the final corner as well for Vinny. Unsure why that was. Maybe trying to break a distant toe. But Vinny sprinting. Now the 3 battling for 3rd place. It could be Captain Foxy as well. But it's the Williams driver able to get past on the Aston Martin. Of course, won't be overall too big of a loss for Vinny if he does let Sprint through. Does have that penalty. Surely won't be able to gain 3 seconds in the span of around about 2.5 laps. And Sprint now into the final couple of corners. We're going to be starting lap 28 of 29. So if he wants to get a move done at least on the circuit, 2 more laps to do so. Nuke Panda picks up another penalty. That rules him out of contention. You would think. Let's bring up the penalties rather quickly. George sets the fastest lap. It's 3 for Sprint, 6 for Captain Foxy, 3 for MH, 6 for Panda, 3 for Richie. Eddie, Ben, 18, Brando and George on 3 and Agent on 19. And Sprint not close enough. Was getting closer, making the way up into turn 4. just not there as Captain Foxy has dropped off the back of Cook. I think his tyres have started to give way as Nuke Panda has made the move on to MH, but it's gone deep into the corner and MH gets the up and under. He's straight back through. Of course, Panda with 6 seconds. He will lose the position anyway to the Williams. Man, even if he does get by, and also will lose the position to Richie. And also Joker as well. So he'll finish in 10th. Joker will be able to recover up into 9th place. So that was a very late lunge. Just look how far ahead Puzan is. He's starting the final lap. By the time he's nearing the braking zone for turn 1, George is just coming out of the final corner. That's how big his advantage is. As Vinny's now got sprint all over the back of him. So as the final lap does begin, here in Sakir, it's been a story of domination, but who's going to get this final podium spot? Here comes sprint to the inside of Vinny as we drag race down the main straight into the first couple of corners. It's late on the brakes from the Williams. Is he going to be able to get the move done onto Vinny? Of course, he'll lose it after penalties, but on the road, he will take that 3rd place away. And now it's going to be a squabble between the 2 Aston Martins on who will claim 3rd. Will it be Cook, the 2-time champion, or will it be his teammate Vinny? As Vinny, late on the brakes into the back of sprint, a desperate lunge there. He doesn't need to do lunges like that. Of course, just needs to make sure that his teammate stays behind him. But look at the launch. That Cook has out of 6, but he runs wide through 7. And Vinny to the inside of Sprint. He's barged his way straight back down the inside. And Sprint is just about able to hold firm. And here comes Cook to the inside into turn 9. Into 9 and 10. Cook saw his teammate off the battery, slowing. And he takes opportunity. He pounces on the position that has arose. And he gets the 4th place away from Vinny on the road. This will be 3rd place after Sprint's penalty. But surely Vinny will try and fight this one back. They need to make sure they don't make contact. They don't come into strife as Puzan comes across the line to win here in Sakir. When you want domination, when you want a late championship fight back, the Ferrari man is the man you call. As we look further back, Vinny gets that position back onto Cook, and he will be able to hold on to 3rd place here, you would think, unless something monumental happens here on the run to the line. But it is going to be Puzan who wins here in Sakir. The championship fight back is well and truly on. And this is a man that does not know when to give up at any given opportunity. If he's still in that title fight, he will fight until he can't no more. Puzan wins in Sakir from Ewan in 2nd. And it's going to be Vinny who ends up on the podium by 0.2 of a second in a great last lap battle with teammate HB Cook. We're just waiting for the 18 to come to the line. A brilliant drive. And so, your finishing order is as follows. It's Puzan who wins here in Sakir and just about keeps his title hopes alive with 3 to go. Ewan extends that gap at the top to, of course, now 31 points. I do believe with that. No, sorry. It will be a 29-point lead in the championship over closest rival Leopold, then Vinny, HB Cook, Sprint, Foxy, MH, Joker, and Richie and Nuke Panda rounding out top 10. Then you've got Eddie, Ben, the A-Team, Rando, George, Agent, and then, of course, Yari, Rory, and Sakio, the 3 drivers to retire from the race today. And driver of the day, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's only one man for it, and that is Puzan after a spectacular drive, winning the race by 12 seconds here this evening. Certainly my driver of the day. A good qualifying performance as well, second place, looking to fight back in the championship. And that was a very, very strong drive indeed. So, before we head off, ladies and gentlemen, let's run you through the calendar for the rest of the season. Of course, 3 more to go after tonight. That's because we head to Shanghai, Miami, then, of course, everything's a week behind because, of course, we have to play the, of course, Canada round by a week, where, of course, we had the World Cup final, but everything else in order. Just instead of the 30th, we will finish on the 6th of September. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all from us here at the OWLS Racing League. We shall see you next time out in Shanghai, where, of course, there is an opportunity, a slim chance, but there is an opportunity for Ewan to be crowned champion. Go to the final 2 rounds of the season. Tune in to find out. But after a dominant drive from Puzan, anything can happen. Championship picture. We shall see you next week, 8 PM UK time, 9 PM European time, for a trip to China and the Shanghai International Circuit. Stay safe, stay well. Thank you for watching.